It's time to make a crystal clear vision for yourself. Are you dealing with the problem where you sit there and you say, in the future, I'm going to have this magical vision and I'm going to make the perfect world for me, only to find your plans falling to pieces just weeks after you set this vision? Are you tired of failing over and over again as you set New Year's resolution, which becomes February resolutions, which become March, which become failure after failure? Enough is enough. It's time for you to finally set for yourself a crystal clear vision that you can make come true. Now, here's the good news. This is not entirely your fault. There are people out there actively trying to poison your mind with false visions so that you stop living the life that you want to live and start living a vision that will self-serve them. Influencers and marketers are using advanced techniques every single day to poison your vision. And without a crystal clear vision, you will never be able to make your future the way you want it to be. So listen very carefully to this video, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get a crystal clear vision so that no matter what kind of vision poison you're exposed to, you're going to be able to blast through it and make your dreams a concrete reality. First, let's talk about these visionary vampires who are feeding off of your powerful intuition to serve themselves and put money in their pockets through your eyes and attention and your actual hard-earned cash. The first thing you have to be aware of is that influencers and marketers are crafting visions for you and are exposing you to these visions through social media. These well-crafted tools are designed to hijack the imagination to get you to start dreaming of a life that may or may not have any connection with what you truly want. Instead, these visions serve the influencer to make you want to follow them, be loyal to them, spend money with them, and more. And once they have their hooks in you, you will now see the world through their vision. You start telling yourself stories about how the vision they created is the vision that you've always wanted for yourself. I need a Lamborghini. I gotta have millions of dollars in the bank. I gotta go and live on a yacht. Sound familiar? Have you ever asked yourself why these visions just tend to coincide with exactly what all these influencers are telling you? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, do I really want this? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, am I willing to put in the 100 to 120 hours a week of work that is required to sustain such a lifestyle? I didn't think so. But here's the good news. Once you take a moment to just stop and go beyond that moment for just a second and expand your horizon to realize that deep down inside yourself is a marble pillar waiting to be founded by your chisel of consciousness. And through this video, we are going to walk you through exactly those steps, starting with adjusting your time frame. Let's go make a vision board. Oh, yeah, no. Take the vision board, throw it away, light it on fire, destroy it. No vision boards, okay? My God. So you're sitting here and it's like, I'm going to make my future. This is what my life's going to look like in 5 years from now. You think you can predict 5 years in the future? You think you can predict 2 years in the future? Come on, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know you can't. And the reason that they're having you do this is because they're tapping into the optimism bias. The optimism bias is a cognitive bias that makes you just hallucinate your entire reality. You think that you're seeing reality, but you're not. And that's what cognitive biases are. And in this case, the further you get out into the future, the more you're able to hallucinate how great the future is going to be and say, well, in the future, things are going to be so great. Everything's going to be so wonderful. Way over there, because you're not there. So you can just pretend how great it is and how much work you're going to do. And the further you go out, the more you start to hallucinate. So instead, you've got to learn how to tap into realistic visions that will actually come true. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But before I do, we need to cover another crucial piece of information. And that is addressing the anchoring bias that you guys are being subjected to every single day by influencers and marketers. You're thinking, oh, I want to be a millionaire and drive a Lamborghini, go in my yacht. I'm going to have popping champagne every day. You got this crazy wild vision that someone painted for you to sell you something at some point. And now what happens is what's called the anchoring bias. Again, another way you hallucinate reality. In this case, what they're doing is setting an anchor. They're saying, look at this giant, wildly outlandish vision of the future. And that becomes the anchor by which you judge your own personal visions. So you go and say, well, I don't want all those things. I don't want the whole life of Andrew Tate, but I do want to settle down here for my big super mega mansion and just one sports car and all the fancy Michelin stars. So because we set this vision way, way, way up here, we then set our own personal vision down here as an equally unrealistic thing because we're not considering the actual effort it takes. So we have to instead set for ourselves a very selfish plan, but to do so in a very specific way, which we're going to show you to do in just a moment. But before we get into that, we have to cover one other thing. And the last piece that you need to understand is that before you craft this plan, you need to start looking at the plan in a multi-dimensional perspective. We need to go and craft a plan with exactly what we want, not what others want, but what we want. And then we need to dig down deep inside, underneath the surface of that want, and find the feeling inside of that goal, of that want, of that desire. And when we go beneath that surface now, you can begin to trust your unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is not guided by these arbitrary goals or visions that others have given us. Instead, these visions have been thrown over the unconscious mind's true desires. And as we strip away the goals, the wants that have been cast upon us, and dig down into the emotions and find the motivations underneath, we discover not a pile of money, but perhaps freedom, power, adventure, true drives that have always been motivating you, that others have taken advantage of in the past, but now you get to take advantage of. As you tap into those core motivations inside and bring them to the surface of your plans, your vision, now the old visions are cast aside and you can start to craft your own vision by your own design. Because that's exactly what you need to do to start building these plans to be successful. What I want you to start to think about is how to craft a truly selfish plan. I want you to really sit down and make for yourself a plan of everything that you want. Really put that down on paper. The wants, the things you want to be, the things you want to do, this whole dream life. I want you to write it down, and let's keep it limited here. You know, maybe you do 12 things or so, but a nice big solid list of things that comes to mind. If you were rich, if you had all the smarts, all the power, all the connections, whatever it is that you think is holding you back, I want you to really write it down. And then off to the side, I want you to calculate an approximate amount of what it will actually cost. Not what you think, but what you actually find it would cost. Go on Google, search, buy this car, lease this car, rent this car, whatever it is. Go and get your numbers and put it off to the side and really start to calculate what these things will look like. And this is where we start to really craft our own vision. Because like I said before, while your vision of the future is so blurry that it becomes nonsensical, by bringing that timeline here to just 3 months, 1 month, even a week, you gain greater clarity of your predictive power, and you can start to actually predict your vision of your future if you simply take the right actions. Once you've picked the time frame that works for you, go back to your list and select the first one that you're drawn to. that you know you could achieve in the time frame you have set. Place that there and only choose it if you know that choosing it is a guaranteed win and that there's no way you could fail. And in this way, you start to actually live that dream life, and you're gaining strength at making your visions come true. And of course, we don't want to forget the final key, which is it's so great to set for ourselves a vision of the future. And it's so great for it to be concrete and to know the exact amount it's going to require to make that vision come true. But most importantly of all, we want to tap into what the underlying motivation of that goal is. And then something truly magical happens. When you find what that motivation is, allow your unconscious mind to begin to look for answers to the question, which is, where else can I get that desire right now, today, in this moment, as I move towards that vision for my future? And when you allow your unconscious mind to start to do this now, what you're going to discover is that you can begin to feel the joy of achieving that goal now as you move closer to making it a concrete reality. And this is the absolute secret to creating a crystal clear vision for yourself that will actually come true. And now you no longer need your vision boards. You don't need to sit here and chant your mantras. You can just start getting the vision you want today.